It's Sunday, November 12th, 2023. A lot to talk about today. Before we do, please make sure to like this video, share all my videos, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification button down below so that you are alerted when the newest videos drop. But give this video a like. Let's make sure that the algorithm shares this video and shares the message. Also, comment down below about anything you want to comment on. Now, I printed out a few articles this morning that I was reading, made some highlights. And again, let me know what you think about this, but this first one comes from the hedge. The Fed has no plan and is just hoping for the best. Is this true? Does the Fed have a plan? Is the Fed not have a plan? Are they hoping for the best? If they are hoping for the best, if they have no plan, and maybe if they do have a plan, you better be preparing because you are on your own. The Fed, I think, basically had a plan and it's not working. I think that the government is outspending the Fed and the Fed's interest rates are having no real effect on inflation. The Fed didn't raise the federal funds rate last week, leaving it unchanged. So does this mean that the Fed believes that the rate is high enough? Why didn't they raise last week? I don't know. I think they should have. Will they raise in December? I don't know. I think they should. Does the Fed hope that they've done enough already to get back to 2%? I don't think they're dumb. Are they? Are they dumb? I don't think that they actually believe they've done enough to get inflation back to 2%. Now, my question to all of you is, what happens, and at some point this will happen, I don't know when that's going to be, but what happens when the Fed reverses course? What is going to happen when they begin to lower rates? I truly believe this is when we're going to see real trouble begin. This is when inflation just flies out of control. This is when you begin to see gold put up numbers you never thought possible. This is when silver goes along for the ride. This is when people begin to get very, very angry. This is when people you and I know are homeless. And at some point it's going to happen. I don't know when, but they're going to break enough things because the economy has already collapsed, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. They're doing everything to tell you and I that we're not in a recession, that everything's fine, that there's no collapse, there's not going to be a collapse, the consumer's fine, your neighbor's fine, your friends are fine, everybody's okay. They're doing everything in their power to convince you that everything is fine. And you know it's not because you go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station, you're looking at your savings account, you're looking at your retirement account, you're looking at your purchasing power, you know it's not. And most people know it's not. And if it wasn't for 589 million credit cards floating around in the back pockets of Americans right now, this would look a lot different. But all it's doing is making the problem worse. We've kicked the can down the road well before 2008, and we're still kicking it. And at some point, there ain't going to be no more road to kick this can down. WallStreet.com, interesting article titled, "Could it be the Fed's mega QE created so much liquidity that tightening doesn't work until this excess gets burned off?" And I'll just kind of make some highlights here of the article. I think this is very, very possible that they've printed so much money that there's been so much liquidity injected into the economy that there's just a lot more to burn off here. So despite the rate hikes and quantitative tightening by the Fed, financial conditions are so loose, they're as loose as they were when the Fed had just started tightening back in May of 2020. Now, I don't know if that's true. On paper, yes, but the problem here is the data. Do we really believe the data? If we do, then this is accurate. But I think that the data is very, very manipulated. But the Fed is going to go by the data. So much central bank liquidity was created during and before the health crisis that maybe financial conditions cannot meaningfully tighten despite the Fed's tightening until the liquidity gets burned up. I think that that's very, very possible. The Fed alone, now counting other central banks, created $4.8 trillion within 2 years of massive money printing. Could there still be more massive liquidity out there? Yes. But it's being evaporated very, very quickly. And I think for the consumer, I think most consumers now are tapped out. And they're solely reliant on credit cards and those equity lines they pulled out of their homes last year and the year before. If financial conditions don't tighten enough to slow the economy and remove the inflationary fuel, what's going to happen? What is going to happen? The Fed will have no choice, in my opinion, but to raise interest rates much, much higher. Now, I think Jerome Powell is worth about $100 million. I'm sure he's not a dumb man. I'm sure he's probably smarter than most people. I think he has got to realize that, first off, the inflation number that we're being told is not even close to real inflation. And I'm sure he's aware that you've got to raise interest rates well above the inflation rate. So I don't think, personally, the Fed is done raising rates. In fact, I think there's a very good chance we get this last one in December. We're going to get more in 2024. Nobody has a crystal ball, ladies and gentlemen, but I just don't see, if we're listening to what the Fed is saying, higher for longer. The Fed came out this week, told you, don't rule out that we're not going to raise interest rates, because it's very possible we are. We're going to look at the data, and if they're looking at the data, they're going to have to raise rates. They're telling you that they're going to have to look at the data. Well, we have too many people apparently working in this country. They want to see unemployment higher. They want to see home prices come down. They want to see a massive slowdown in the U.S. economy, and they're not seeing it. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to get more aggressive with interest rates. So as most people are watching the television and all the financial analysts and all the economists telling us that any day now the Fed's going to reverse course, they're going to reverse course, which they've been saying for over a year and they haven't done it. I think quite the opposite. I think the Fed is going to continue to raise, and we're going to watch the Fed slam the brakes on the U.S. economy. They're going to have to crash the U.S. economy, and they're going to. Shifting gears here, here's another one from the Hedge. Los Angeles County approves new Office of Food Equity. Now get this. This is the biggest state, I believe, at least population-wise, California, right? Our economy here is the sixth biggest economy in the world. 24% of households in LA County were food insecure as of July 2020. Not people, households. 24%, that's almost 1 in 4 households, families, food insecure in the county of Los Angeles. We're talking about one of the biggest cities in America, in the biggest state in America. And you know, we always hear about Hollywood, the glitz, the glamour, the movie stars, and just how prestigious, you know, Los Angeles is and how beautiful it is. And I mean, it's a complete cesspool now. It's a sewer. There's tents everywhere, rats are running everywhere, graffiti everywhere, crime everywhere. When you look at Los Angeles and Los Angeles County, it has no doubt collapsed. And what a sad thing to happen. Such a beautiful city, a historic city. And you know, a few weeks ago, I was talking to some people that were from the UK that were in town, and they spent 2 nights when they got here. They landed at LAX. They spent two nights in LA, and they said, "Wow, it's like nothing like the movies. They're from the UK." And I said, "It hasn't looked like anything from the movies in probably 20 years." But people are sadly disappointed when they come to LA. There's feces everywhere. There's rats everywhere. It smells like urine everywhere. There's just people literally just walking through the streets like zombies. It's very, very dangerous now. And so it's just so sad to see such a beautiful city collapse, and not just the city, but the county is collapsing. Roads, infrastructure, everything just collapsing. So, so sad. But here we are in America, and in this so-called, wealthy nation, first world nation, richest nation, biggest debtor nation, of course, and we have people starving. Now, the state of California received nearly $14.5 billion in 2022 in food benefits. However, food insecurity has gone much higher. Where is the money going, ladies and gentlemen? $14.5 billion. That would seem to me that would feed a lot of people. How long are people going to continue to depend on the system? The system that is collapsing, the system that seems to take $14.5 billion and nobody knows where it is because it's not going to feeding people. The system is collapsing. It's going down. If you are attached to the system, dependent on the system, it's going to take you down too. You're going to be in very, very big trouble. We are a bankrupt nation. We're the biggest debtor nation. You look at the state of California, another prime example of just how bad things are getting. And look, if it can happen here in the state of California, it can happen where you live also. Don't fool yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. But so sad that so many people right here need so much help and nobody knows where the money is going. And that's money that you and I pay. Where's my tax money going? At least if I'm going to just get reamed on taxes every year, at least let me know that people are being fed, that it's improving the infrastructure, it's improving the life of other people. At least justify this somehow. But nobody even knows where the money's going. Do you know where your tax money's going? Probably not. Probably going to other countries. And God knows what it's doing over there. Now here's another article today. This was on NBC. And I was reading this last night, and this is a warning to everybody out there. Fool's Gold, Redlands man pays $21,000 in cash for fake gold bars. Now, Redlands is about 35-40 minutes from where I'm making this video. And when I read this article, I was absolutely blown away. This gentleman was buying these gold bars from somebody from an ad off of Craigslist, of all places. Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, do not buy gold off of anybody on Craigslist. Now, if you do, meet them at maybe a coin shop, at a reputable coin dealer, and have it verified. But buying gold and silver, also silver, from Craigslist, I think you are taking a huge, huge risk. Meeting people, I mean, this guy, they said this is the second time he bought. So apparently the first time when he bought the gold bars, he believed they were real. The second time he went and bought the gold bars, somewhere after that, he went and got these bars appraised and found out that they were not real. So meeting somebody with this kind of money also, it says right here, the buyer met the seller in an alley. So you're taking a lot of cash and meeting somebody in Redlands in an alley. Not a good idea. Meet at a reputable dealer, or how about this, even better idea, buy from a reputable dealer. You can go to my link down below, SD Bullion, where I've been buying for 5 years. None of my gold is fake. Many of you were buying from SD Bullion before I was. None of your gold is fake. None of your silver is fake. Much, much safer. There's a lot of reputable dealers online that you can buy from. Use somebody reputable. Again, SD Bullion, link down below. You will never get fake gold. You will never get fake silver. Nobody will ever steal your cash. This is extremely dangerous too. Meeting people in alleys with cash money. Very, very dangerous. So they have not caught the suspect here yet. But again, be very, very careful, ladies and gentlemen. Be very cautious who you're buying your gold and silver from. Now here's another one today. From Showbiz 411, Marvel Studios has its lowest opening day ever, with the Marvels breaking a record it didn't want. Lowest opening day ever on record, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess it wasn't so marvelous. You know, I've been done with Hollywood for over 20 years. I know many of you are. When I look at the amount of Satanism in the music, the amount of Satanism in the movies, just the movies are really just so disgusting. There is absolutely no morality whatsoever, or the movies are just so dumbed down. I mean, like, you know, Fast and Furious 18, cars doing backflips, flying out of airplanes, doing backflips, bouncing off of boats. And I mean, I mean, I don't know how any adult can sit there and watch that for an hour and believe any of it. It's just too much. But so many of these movies are just rolling off the assembly line. They can't make them fast enough. They're garbage. They have no message. Many of them are just, look, I'm not trying to sit here and act like I'm an angel or perfect, but I mean, some of the vulgarity in these movies is just over the top. I mean, it's unbelievable. The language, what they talk about, it's almost really disturbing. When I look at these people, and I'm not going to mention any of their names of these actors or actresses. They're adult human beings. The things they talk about, the words that they use, the mentality, the vulgarity, all of it, it's just shocking. I can see why Hollywood is crumbling, why Hollywood is falling. And I hope it falls to the ground. I really do. I've lived without Hollywood for over 20 years. I don't give Hollywood 1 cent of my money or 1 second of my time. I don't support it one little bit. It's the devil's playground. We know what goes on there. We don't need to really talk about that. But it is a very, very disgusting place. It's a cesspool. And if I were you, I wouldn't support it either. So stay away from it. It is the devil's playground. And Hollywood just, I mean, all it does is produce smut, pretty much. That's all it is. It's garbage. I'm going to finish with these last two articles. Let's talk a little bit, again, what's happening socially now in America and why you better be awake and why you better be careful. This first one, doorbell cam shows armed suspects stealing UPS truck in Prince George's County. UPS driver carjacked. On this video, it took place in, what is this, Glen Arden, Maryland, 2 p.m. last Sunday. The driver was surrounded by multiple suspects, and they took the truck and drove off. Now, they have found the truck. I don't know what was missing, but think about taking an entire UPS truck now. This is where we're at. Think about these people just rolled up on a female UPS driver and took her truck and drove off. I mean, people are, they are just unbelievable. And, you know, it's no problem unless your packages were on there. Maybe it was something you really needed, and now you're going to have to wait, and you're going to have to file a claim. And, of course, now prices of deliveries go up because of more and more theft, right? So it's just unbelievable that now people are stealing UPS trucks. Pretty soon they'll be stealing their planes. But this is going to become more and more common. The FedEx trucks, the UPS trucks, they're going to be easy targets. And this last one, very disturbing. This also on NBC. Is this really happening? Mother recalls terrifying moment she was carjacked at Beverly home. This took place right outside of Chicago, a neighborhood of Beverly. This is why I remind you on a daily basis, you have got to get off your phone. You've got to be paying attention. This mother just picked up her daughter from volleyball practice, drove home. Her daughter's 12 years old. They pull into their very nice home, pull into the garage with their SUV. I couldn't quite tell what kind of SUV it was, but they pull in the SUV, and these two suspects come running up the driveway, stick the pew-pew at them. Daughter runs into the house. They knock the mother down on the ground. Father comes charging out. They stick a pew-pew at him. He's basically begging them to, I'll give you money, leave my family alone, take my car, take my car. So they did. He gave them his Audi. Now, I don't know if they're going to get very far in an Audi, reliability issues, but they took the Audi and they drove off. Again, I don't know how far they're going to go, but they drove off in his Audi. And watching this video a couple times and listening to the interview with the husband, he was completely defenseless. There's nothing he could do. These two could have just taken the whole family, went into the house, did whatever they wanted, took whatever they wanted. But this is really getting out of control. That you're driving, your wife is driving home with her 12-year-old daughter, pulls into the garage, and now accosted by these two losers. And there's nothing they could do about it. And you got to be paying attention. You're not safe in your own driveway. You're not safe in your own garage. You don't know if you were just at the grocery store and maybe you're driving a nice car. Maybe you're wearing a nice watch. Maybe you have a nice wedding ring on and you leave the grocery store. You don't know that two scumbags are watching you and they're waiting for you to drive off and they're going to follow you all the way home. And as soon as you park your car and get out, they're going to be all over you. And they're going to want your diamond ring. They're going to want your watch. They're going to want your car. Maybe they're going to want your life. We have never lived in a time, ladies and gentlemen, where you've got to be so careful. This is why I say you better get in the best physical shape of your life, why you need to be training, why you need to be learning how to deal with confrontation. And people can ignore it and go, it's never going to happen to me, or I'm over-exaggerating. This stuff is happening every day. If you're not paying attention, these bad guys are looking for people who are comatose on one of these, walking around, driving. Oh, they love when you drive like this. They're going to follow you all the way home. They love when you're walking around at the mall like this, because when they grab your purse or follow you to your car, you're going to have no idea what hit you. Be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful. I know we talk a lot about what's happening financially, and that is very, very important. But you're going to have to survive this physically. And you're not going to do it by just keeping your eyes on a phone. You're not going to do it not getting in shape. You're not going to do it not training. You have got to be well-rounded now. You're going to have to be multi-dimensional. You cannot just think like this is just going to be a financial collapse. You're looking at a societal collapse taking place right now, a spiritual collapse, a moral collapse. It's all happening right now. You're going to have very, very bad people hunting and preying on good people. Don't let this happen to you. Don't let this happen to your family. Don't be a sheep. Be a sheepdog, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be a sheep. You got to be a pit bull now. You got to be a pit bull. I'm going to leave it there. Be safe. God bless every one of you. Like, share, and subscribe. It'll be an interesting week to see what plays out in the economy, the markets, the Middle East, all of it. So much happening. Don't be complacent. Be a pit bull, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. Talk to all of you very, very soon.